Hey guys, I'm back, and I wanted to do a slightly different video from what I normally do. I think 95% of my content on YouTube is just purely chess, for a good reason. But I'm also really into photography and photo editing. And if you haven't seen my previous video, I'm in Benasque, Spain right now. Very small mountain town, but really nice scenery. And I wanted to do some photo editing and just edit a couple photos that I took over the last day. I've only been here for about 24 hours. And I'm staying at a hotel right now with a really nice view. There's one window in my hotel room. I don't know if people can see this, but there's a window, and the view is just incredible. It's probably the best view I've ever had at any hotel that I've stayed in. And I've taken a couple photos. One photo, actually, this one I took just like 10 minutes ago with my Canon camera. I can show my Canon here, 5D Mark II, fisheye lens. And another photo I took last night during a pretty bad thunderstorm, caught some lightning. This was a 20-second exposure. And the lightning was a bit sporadic, but I did manage to get a couple shots with these lightning bolts. So what I'm going to do is just go through the editing process. All the photos that I take, at least with my professional camera, I shoot in RAW as opposed to JPEG. And this gives a lot more kind of editing opportunities, as it preserves more detail, and it will allow me to make the photo really pop, as we'll see. So I'm just going to walk through kind of the editing process, go through color, exposure, etc. I don't know how much commentary I'm going to give, but we'll start with the exposure. And usually a photo like this, I just want to bring out more detail, like the sky. I'll bring down the highlights, bring up the shadows in the foreground. Usually with photos, I would like some white point. Anything that's highlighted here is a true white point, or true white. So just a little bit of true white, a little bit of true black. We're going to boost up the clarity, sharpen the image a little bit, boost up the vibrance. And even with just some simple edits, it's looking pretty nice. This is before and after. I'll keep going here. The color functionality is really nice in Lightroom, because I can target each different color and then affect the saturation and the luminance. So that's what I'll do. I'll start with the blues in the sky. I'll saturate them just a little bit. I don't want to go too extreme, even though that looks kind of interesting. I'll just do it very subtle here. Same thing with the greens and the yellows and the oranges, just making it pop a bit more. I don't know if I want to brighten or darken the blues. Darken a little bit. Probably brighten the greens. Yeah, the green in the mountains, I want to kind of accentuate these kind of patches of sunlight. Oranges and yellows, I'll probably maybe darken a little bit. And this is looking nice. We just wanted to see the color effect. This is before affecting the colors and after. Split toning is another option, which I don't mess around with too often. I'm going to do a little bit here just to affect the highlights. I want a bit more warmth, but not too much. And then a bit cool tones in the shadows. So before, after, that's very subtle, but I'll leave it as is. Sharpening, I'll boost up a little bit. We'll zoom in here. Sharpening usually goes up to like 80 to 90. We only want areas to be sharp that have detail, so I'm going to up the masking. And only the white areas are affected, so only the areas with detail. Something like that. And that doesn't really make a difference when it's zoomed out, but if I were to make a large print, I would want some additional sharpness. If people can see before, after. It's actually some noticeable difference. Okay, so this is before and after so far. I think I'll put a vignette just because it's a fisheye and just such a wide angle. I want the focus to be in the center. So just a very subtle vignette. And we'll up the feathering, bring the highlights all the way up. Is this a full image? This is a full image. And I'm liking the way this looks. And this is just like all the basic Lightroom adjustments. I could do a little bit more. I might experiment a bit further with some radial filters. These are always pretty cool to do like specialized areas. Let me just demonstrate. Let me add. Oops, no, I don't want this. I want this. I'm gonna add just want like a spot of sunlight, maybe around here. Boost exposure. Invert this. Something very subtle. Boost the warmth. Shadows go up. Maybe some clarity. And make this a bit smaller. We can duplicate this. And I'll create a few of these throughout the image. Where do I want this? Maybe here. Bring it down. So it's very subtle, but it just accentuates kind of the areas that have been hit with the sun a bit more. I'm liking the way this looks. I could do a few more things, maybe create a filter like this, just to put more emphasis on the center of the image. Maybe sharpness can go down here, and then shadows go down, clarity can go down. Anyway, there's infinite ways to play around here. I could spend maybe 10-20 more minutes, but I'll try and keep this brief. So there we go. This is before, this is after. And what I want to do is have this image side by side with the lightning image, just to show the contrast in weather. So let's move on. Go to the other image, lightning shot. And this one, the composition wasn't as good. I was kind of just balancing the camera on the windowsill, and it had a lower angle. And it was a long exposure. It was a 20-second exposure. I probably took good like 20 to 30 photos until I got the lightning that I wanted. And for this one, we'll do a significant amount of editing. Let's start by cropping this just to get rid of the top framing. We can crop in pretty far here. I do want to keep the homes kind of on the side. So maybe crop out just a bit. Something like this. And yeah, we'll do similar things. We'll drop down the highlights, bring up the shadows. So now I have detail in the very dark areas, which is great about raw photos. Like raw photos preserve detail in spots where JPEG would probably just not have the same type of detail. I want to bring up the lights. Really want to accentuate the lightning. We'll bring down the exposure. Bringing down the exposure affected the darker areas, but might try and fix that later. Bring up the clarity, add some vibrance, maybe bring down the blacks, but not too much. So this is, oops. Oh, I had edited this before, so it's showing the before photo. Let me make a virtual copy. Virtual copy, I just want to be able to show the before and after. Okay. I'm just going to reset. Okay, so this is before. And I believe this is after. Bring this back. So before, after. Haven't really done too much. But we'll keep going. The color is interesting here because the sky is blue, but the lightning is purple. So what I want to do is bring down the blues a good amount, maybe even saturate the blues a little bit, and then bring up the purple, saturate the purple, magenta, whatever, bring up the purple, magenta, And just with the colors, it's a nice transition. More contrast in the sky. One of the issues here is these like dirt spots on the lens. And this is a nice feature in Lightroom. I can just basically remove the spots with a click. So I'm going to go around and click there's a good amount of these spots. One of the issues with a fisheye lens, can pick up everything. Any more dirt up here a little bit. If I had more time and I wanted to be a lot more precise, I would kind of go through, make sure all the dirt is cleaned up. Oops, don't want to do that. For now it's looking decent. Most of the dirt, at least the big dirt spots, are gone. Okay, so this is before, this is after. Let's go down here and play around a bit more. I can bring the yellows up, so lights of the city. I'll sharpen a bit. I do want the lightning to be sharp, like that. And I'm going to add a vignette, just to put even more emphasis on the lightning. And feather it a little bit. And I'm going to do some selective filters, similar to the last photo. I want to brighten the kind of the homes in the foreground. So I'm going to add a radial filter. Is it radial? No, it's graduated, whatever. Forget what we call this. And just brighten like this part. And I am aware that some people, I don't know, are critical of this sort of type of photo editing because I'm taking a photo and maybe making it a bit more fake. But I'm trying just to get the best possible image out of the raw file. And this is pretty standard in when it comes to processing raw photos. So this is already looking nicer because now there's some brightness on the side here. I want to bring the clouds down. I want to make the clouds much darker, so I'm going to add one more filter. Let's bring the clarity up, and we're going to dehaze. Dehaze has a nice effect. Now when I dehaze, it brings out more lens dirt, which I'll probably have to fix. Can bring the whites down even more. Okay. Don't want to go too extreme. This is looking nice. I'm going to go in, clean up some more dirt. Yeah, there's a lot of these annoying spots. Probably just have to clean my lens. Or clean the camera sensor or whatever. Okay. I do apologize for people who might find this boring. But if you're still watching, that's probably a good thing. There's one more spot, which is annoying me. Yeah, I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to this type of photo editing. Just right there. Okay. Not going to worry too much. This is looking nice. This is before. After, you can really see the power of the raw processing. I want to do maybe a couple more things. I do want to add a filter here with the lightning, make it maybe even a bit more purple. Or even, maybe I can make the whole image a bit more purple, magenta. Let's do this first. Yeah. Not too much. Something like that. And then I'll go back to the filter. Add a filter like this. It already exists. Bring up the purple, invert. Now I do want it to be big. I want to feather it as much as possible. I don't want too much magenta. Something like that. Maybe up the exposure. Maybe up the contrast too. Just so the lightning stands out even more. So before, after, this is looking nice. I might even add like one more graduated filter like this. And oops, what did I do there? There we go. Just brighten the foreground a little bit. Add some clarity. I keep going back and forth between the photo I originally edited, but this is before, this is after. I'm pleased with this. There's, I guess, some more touch-ups I can do if I want to lighten this part. Maybe bring up the exposure here, just so some of the light can be reflected on the roof here. So before, after, yeah, I'm not going to play around too much more. Really the point of this video is just to give people an idea of the process of editing photos, kind of the nature of applying selective filters and using the functionality of Lightroom. And this is really just an experimental video too. It's completely different content to what I usually do. But if you guys enjoy this, let me know and I'll do more of it. If you guys don't enjoy it, I'll probably won't do more of it. At some point I was debating whether to make a channel like devoted to photo editing. But yeah, I'll see. I'll listen to the feedback and see what people think. But anyway, just to wrap things up, let's go back to the grid view. I will get rid of this for now, just remove it. So these are the two, really this is the same view from my window, but two completely different scenes, depending on the weather. Yeah, it's a nice view, and this is my home for the next 10 days. So I'm going to leave it at that. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'm going to be trying to upload more content throughout this event, but we'll see how it goes. So let me pause this, and I'll see you guys in the future.